Away from that, a federal high court in Abuja has frozen the bank accounts of 32 individuals and companies linked to the End Bad Governance protest and pending investigations and prosecution. Justice Emeka Nwite ruled on an ex-parte motion filed by Ibrahim Mohammed, counsel for the Inspector General of Police. The ruling, dated August 20th and made public on Sunday, ordered the banks to freeze the accounts and apprehend any persons transacting with them. The accounts allegedly involve proceeds from unlawful activities, including criminal conspiracy, terrorism financing, treason, cyberbullying, and cyber stalking. The Inspector General of Police listed several respondents, including Palinho Global Service Limited and Obedient Movement Multi-Purpose Cooperative Society. According to an affidavit by Detective Gregory Waji, preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects were recruiting individuals to cause unrest and overthrow the government, with some foreign nationals implicated in promoting terrorism financing and treasonable activities. And to unpack this, we are joined by a legal practitioner, and that's Taiwo Ojumu. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Player.
All right, let me kick off by asking, first of all, what's your assessment of the move by the federal government to freeze the accounts of those linked to the End Bad Governance protests?
Yes, first and foremost, I must say that I think I've said this severally, and I'll say for the often time, that the right to peaceful assembly, that is the right to protest, as it were, is one guaranteed by the Constitution. Section 40 of the Constitution spells that out clearly. Now, the thing is that that right is not absolute, of course. I mean, that right has its own limitations, and one of such limitations is that the fact that you have the right to peacefully assemble does not mean that you now use that. You now run foul of law by conspiring to commit a crime. But for me, I've said it. Don't know the full facts or the evidences that the federal government has. But if you ask me, people have the right to protest. But if you look at the allegations levied against detective persons, those allegations are very serious allegations. And so I feel that by the time the matter proceeds in court fully, we'll see. But I think people have the right to protest. People cannot be gagged, cannot be suppressed. It's a right that is guaranteed by the ground norm of law, that is the Constitution of Nigeria. So yes.
Just to come in there, talking about allegations now, what do you think are the legal implications for the persons or companies involved? I mean, how does this action align with the principle of due process and also the right to a fair trial?
Like I said, first and foremost, it is still in the realm of allegations. Anybody can institute an action or a criminal charge against anybody, but it is the court that will decide that. But what I always advise is that in this kind of instances, because Nigeria is not an autocratic society, Nigeria is not a military junta where the constitution is suspended. What I would advise, if you ask me now, is that persons, those suspects as well, those accused persons rather, should go and get some of the best human rights lawyers in Nigeria. Lawyers that have track records of integrity, and I think the coming days and weeks will unfold a whole lot. It has very serious and very severe legal implication, because, like I said earlier, it's barely an allegation, or merely allegations. It's only the court that will decide whether those allegations are true or not.
Well, we understand. Well, like you rightly possess, we understand these allegations, but then looking ahead, how might this court's order affect future protests and also the exercise of civil rights in Nigeria?
Like I said, I think on the part of the government, I think government is trying to do a whole lot to gag people, if you ask me. Gag in the sense that, because these things, I mean, instances of things like this were only prominent during the military country. I will not, although, like I said earlier, I don't know the severity, don't know the veracity or otherwise of the evidence the government has. But if you ask me, why is it that those who protested were the only ones affected? These are many questions that that deserve some answers. Now, moving forward, I think in the future, this might intimidate people. People might think twice before going out to protest. Personally, I've said it several that people have the right to protest. I said it earlier, but that right is not absolute. Of course, you cannot use your right to protest to now commit a crime. But this, like you asked, will affect protests in the future. People might become scared of protesting because of issues like this.
Okay, let me ask you, as a legal practitioner, do you see any level of accountability or transparency by the government in this case? Have we seen any public charges being made so far?
No. Beyond what we know already, beyond what we've read now, there's nothing yet we have seen. But like I said earlier, I think the best bet is let all civil societies involved come up, make sure that the court proceedings are monitored on one hand, then on the other hand, the accused persons involved to ensure that they get lawyers, human rights lawyers with track record of integrity, lawyers that will not compromise. These are many more are the only ways one can ensure that justice is done and that these people are not victimized.
Now, going forward, what would be your recommendation or advice to people willing to engage in demonstrations or protests in Nigeria?
Yes, my advice would be the same, like I've always advised. The right to protest is guaranteed 100% by the Constitution, so people can proceed on protesting. But your protest, that right is not absolute, like I always say. The right ends, your right to protest or your rights ends where that of others begin. That is, if you must protest, you must do it within the bounds of the law. That's my advice.
All right, thank you so much. This is where we anchor it. Taiwo Ojumu, legal practitioner, many thanks for your insights.